Detroit Den 313. I'm back, rolling solo today. Steve and I, our schedules are a little bit conflicted right now. They're expecting me to hold a day job. The people just don't understand. My main job is podcasting. It's really all I should be doing, but we're working on it, guys. We're building this thing up. Before I get started talking about this Detroit Lions football, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and don't forget the bell icon so you don't miss any of our new content. Steve and I will be back soon enough. That being said, today I am here to talk about someone I have been waiting to spill the beans on. Somebody was gracious enough to send me his film a couple of weeks ago. I've been holding him in my back pocket, waiting for the right time. And I think that the right time is now. I can't tell you how excited I am. But before I go into who he is, I'll have to say I've did some thinking, and I've did some thinking about the Detroit Lions. I've did some thinking about building a team, and I think that I need to pass on that and just take the advice myself. It's not always about who's the best player all overall. Sometimes you got to think about who's the best fit for your team, for your scheme, what makes the most sense, and what our GM likes, man. And to me, what I've seen over time is Brad Holmes doesn't care about what your draft, quote unquote, pockets are, where you're supposed to go, where Mel Kiper has you. He has a plan. He has kinds of guys that he likes, and he drafts those guys wherever he sees fit. Not where us podcasters sees fit, not where Mel Kiper or any of these other guys sees fit. He drafts them where he sees fit. So this is a guy that I think could very easily be a Brad Holmes and Dad Campbell guy. And without further ado, none other than Malachi Corley. Malachi Corley is what I would say, what I would label as an absolute weapon. I remember last season when he talked about Jahmyr Gibbs. He didn't talk about Jahmyr Gibbs as a running back. He didn't talk about him as a receiver out of the backfield. He talked about him as an offensive weapon. And that is exactly what Malachi Corley is. A position of need for the Detroit Lions with Josh Reynolds' future up in the air. Not sure what's going to go on with him. Still got to sign Amon-Ra to a nice contract. A receiver with some game on a rookie deal sounds absolutely phenomenal for what these Detroit Lions are trying to do. And I think that Malachi Corley is a guy that we can get on day 2, but no different than Amon-Ra St. Brown. He can have day 1 game. 5'11", 210 to 215 pounds. He's not the typical frame of a wide receiver in any level of football. He's played some running back. He was recruited by Western Kentucky as a cornerback, and immediately showing his ball skills, Western Kentucky said, hey, listen, you're on the wrong side of the football, guy. Moved him over to wide receiver, and there was no looking back after that. Self-proclaimed Yak King. He's had almost a little over 3,000 or almost 3,000 yards of receiving, with 2,000 of those yards coming with yards after catch. The dude's got skills. People talk about his route tree being a little bit limited, but I watched the film and I watched this guy do some awesome things. He can set you up. He can change a pace. He's not a guy that's just going to run at you full bore. He can come out, switch up the pace on you. He's got moves. The guy's got great hands. He can catch the ball in traffic. He can run you over like a running back. He can run around you like a receiver. He can catch screen plays. He can run the ball out of the backfield. The dude is an absolute weapon. And why do I love him so much? I'll tell you why. If you watch this show, you hear us talk about J-Mo oftentimes. You hear us talk about how Jared Goff and J-Mo seem, for whatever reason, not to be clicking on all cylinders. If you're a season ticket holder like Steve and I, Oftentimes you'll see J-Mo running wide open on deep routes, only for us to realize that his job is probably just to run off safeties and run through zones to open up some things for underneath routes. But all the while us wishing that we had a QB with that cannon of an arm like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes to just air it out to J-Mo. At some point, we got to understand that's not what Jared Goff is. Now, is there some things that we can do as far as Ben Johnson and Jared Goff to get a little bit better at getting those deep ball opportunities? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, we need to understand what Jared Goff is and what he does well. And I think that Malachi Corley can capitalize on what Jared Goff does, which is throw the ball on time and accurate. Malachi is the kind of guy who can play a similar game to Amon-Ra St. Brown. He can take a little bit of pressure off of Amon-Ra St. Brown by catching screenplays while sitting in zones, while being able to have enough speed. He's expected to run a 4.4, and in an interview, he said he hopes to run a 4.3. And if that happens, he may end up shooting up to a day one guy. So, hey, maybe we hope for that 4.4 instead of that 4.3. But nonetheless, he's a guy that to me fits what Jared Goff does well. So when we start talking about scheme fits, when we start talking about getting a guy who fits what the Detroit Lions are and what they do, I feel like Malachi Corley comes onto the Detroit Lions and immediately makes an impact. He is a guy that at day two, to me, that or on day two will be available. So after all these guys, these big name guys go, I think that it could be another situation like Amon-Ra St. Brown when we're looking back and we're like, man, all these wide receivers went ahead of him, but look at what he's doing now in year three, year two. He's a guy that's in that conversation in the top 10 wide receivers in the league, but we got the opportunity to draft him on day two instead of day one. So, guys, if you haven't got the opportunity to watch his film, I will put it in the description so you can check him out. Please do and let me know how you feel about Malachi Corley. He is a wide receiver that's built like a running back. A lot of people are copying him, the Deebo Samuel. I'm not going to do that because it's a little bit early. You got to play some NFL downs before I'm going to copy you like Deebo. But when you talk about his frame, 5'11", 210 to 215 pounds. He's a guy that can catch a screen ball and take it to the house. He's a guy that can run down the field and catch balls in traffic. He's got strong hands. He catches the ball with his hands. He can change pace. He can run through zones. He can sit in zones. This is the type of guy, to me, that fits Jared Goff's skill set. I think he would be an excellent weapon to add to our offense with a J-Mo still running those deep routes, with Amon-Ra running around, with the Sam Laporta still running around. Awesome offensive line, awesome run game. When we're talking about being one or two pieces away from making that NFC Championship game a victory instead of a defeat where we struggle in the second half, I think adding another weapon later on in the draft, huge. We've tossed a few things out there where maybe Brad Holmes trades back. So maybe we get 2 second-round picks instead of 1. You know what I mean? There's so many different things that can happen, but I think if given an opportunity to get a guy like Malachi Corley on the Detroit Lions, I think it's an absolute no-brainer. A lot of people were a little bit frustrated at the thought of us, because I know Steve has mentioned maybe getting that Troy Franklin or, I think Xavier Liggett or, Keon Coleman's of the world at that pick 29. Maybe the Detroit Lions go that route to replace that wide receiver position. To me, that's not something I see us doing. I see us drafting one of these guys like Malachi Corley on day 2 or day 3 that can make plays and be an immediate impact, kind of an underrated, under the radar guy with versatility. So, guys, let me know what you think. Do you think that Malachi Corley will instantly help the Detroit Lions? Do you think he's a good fit for the Detroit Lions? Or am I nuts? Please put it in the comments. And if you guys got guys that you want us to talk about, we're coming up on the Pajama Olympics. There's a lot of guys out there that we haven't talked about yet. If you have a guy on your radar that you would like for us to talk about, please put it in the comments. Let us know how you feel about Malachi. Until next time, Steve and I will be getting together after the Pajama Olympics to do our next mock. We got some things that we've been keeping in our pocket for you guys, but there's a few more guys that we want to talk about before then. Again, if you got a guy that you want us to talk about, please put it in the comments. Peace.